Ismene, quick, come here. What's to become of us? Why are we always the ones? There's nothing, sister, nothing. Zeus hasn't put us through. Just because we are who we are, the daughters of Oedipus. And because we are his daughters, we took what came, Ismene, in public and in private, hurt and humiliation. But this I cannot take. No, wait, here's what's happened. There's a general order issued, and again it hits us hardest. The ones we love, it says, are enemies of the state, to be considered traitors. How so? What do you mean? I mean, have you not heard? What I heard was enough. Our two brothers are dead, the Argos troops withdrawn, and the pair of us left to cope. But what's next, I don't know. That's why I came outside. The walls in there have ears. This is for ears only. What is it? You have scared me. And right you are to be scared. Creon has made a law. Eteocles has been buried as a soldier with full honours, so he's gone home to the dead. But not Polynices. Polynices is denied any burial at all. Word has come down from Creon. There's to be no laying to rest, no mourning, and the corpse is to be publicly dishonoured, his body's to be dumped, disposed of like a carcass, left out for the birds to feed on. If you so much as throw him, the common handful of clay, you'll have committed a crime. This is law and order, in the land of good King Creon. This is the edict for you, and for me is mean for me, and he's coming to announce it. I'll flush him out, he says. Whoever isn't for us is against us in this case. Whoever breaks this law, I'll have them stoned to death. I say, he has put it to us. I say, it's a test you're facing, whether you are who you are and true to all you belong to, or whether... Antigone, Antigone, what do you mean, a test? If things have gone this far, what is there I can do? You can help me do one thing. And what thing is that? His body. Help me to lift and lay your brother's body. And bury him, no matter. Are we sister, sister, brother? Or traitor, coward, coward? But what about Creon's order? What are Creon's rights when it comes to me and mine? Easy now, my sister. Think this through for a minute. Think of the line we come from. We're children of Oedipus, daughters of the man who favoured us on his mother, the king they drove from their city. No matter he didn't know, no matter it was Oedipus, brought his own crimes to light, and reached into his eyes and tore them out of their sockets. Still they drove him out. Oedipus had to perish, and then his wife, the mother who bared her breasts for him, in the child bed and the bride bed, she hanged herself in a noose. And now this last thing happens. The doom in our blood comes back, and brother slaughters brother, the two of them dead in a day. Are you and I to be next? How do you think they see us? How do you think we'd fare if we went against the order? Two women on our own, faced with a death decree. Women defying Creon is not a woman's place. We're weak where they are strong. Whether it's this or worse, we must do as we're told. In the land of the living, sister, the laws of the land obtain, and the dead know that as well. The dead will have to forgive me. I'll be used by Creon's word. Anything else is madness. You and the laws of the land, sister, let me tell you, from now on, and no matter how you change, how your mind may change, I'll never accept your help. I will bury him myself, and if death comes, so be it. There'll be a glory in it. I'll go down to the underworld hand in hand with a brother, and I'll go with my head held high. The gods will be proud of me. The land of the living, sister, is neither here nor there. We enter it and we leave it. The dead in the land of the dead are the ones you'll be with the longest. And how are you going to face them, Ismene, if you dishonour their laws and the gods' law? Dishonour them I do not, but nor am I strong enough to defy the laws of the land. Live, then, and live with your choice. I am going to bury his body. I fear for you, Antigone. Better fear for yourself. Oh, stop. This must never get out. No, no. Broadcast it. Your cover-ups sicken me. I have nothing to hide. from the powers that see all. I'm doing what has to be done. What are you, Antigone? Hot-headed or cold-blooded? This thing cannot be done. But it still has to be tried. You're mad. You don't have a chance. Here and now is mean. I hate you for this talk, and the dead are going to hate you. Call me mad if you like, but leave me alone to do it. If Creon has me killed, where's the disgrace in that? The disgrace would be to avoid it. Nothing's going to stop you, but nothing's going to stop the ones that love you, sister, from keeping on loving you. Glory be to brightness, to the gleaming sun, shining guardian of our 7 gates. Burn away the darkness, dawn on Thebes, dazzle the city you have saved from destruction. Argos is defeated, the army beaten back, all their brilliant shields smashed into shards and smithereens. Like a golden eagle, the enemy came on swooping, like an eagle screaming down the sky, hoping to set fire to the 7 towers. But the dragon of Thebes had growing teeth. We overwhelmed him on the walls, and Zeus blasted his overbearing. A god of war stiffened our will, and locked our arms, so the line held. Glory be to brightness, to the gleaming sun. 7 guardians at our 7 gates bore the brunt and broke the charge. Our attackers were struck down and stripped of their armor. Their spears and helmets are the spoils of war. We have hung their shields among the trophies. But Polynices and Eteocles, the only trophies they look at Thebes, were each other's deaths. Their doom was sealed, their banners flew. The battle raged and they fell together, their fathers' sons. Glory be to the brightness, to the gleaming sun. Glory be to victory. I can feel her wings fanning the air. The joy in my eyes is like the joy in hers, dazzling the city she has saved from destruction. Race the chariots and run to the temples. Drum the earth from early until late. Give glory to the god of dance. Let Bacchus lead us, and burn away the dark. Glory be to brightness, to the gleaming world. King Creon, all hail to Creon. He's a new king, but he's right for this city at this moment. Now we will know what's what, why he has sent for us to be privy to his thinking. Gentlemen, we have entered calmer waters. Our ship of state was very nearly wrecked, but the gods have kept her safe. So friends, well done. You from the start have been a loyal crew. You stood by Oedipus when he was at the helm, and when his son stepped in to take his place. You stood by them as well, but now they're gone, 2 brothers badged red with each other's blood, and I, as next of kin to those dead and doomed, I'm next in line. The throne has come to me, until a man has passed this test of office, and proved himself in the exercise of power. He can't be truly known for what he is, I mean, in his heart and mind and capabilities. Worst is the man who has all the good advice, and then, because his nerve fails to act in accordance with it as a leader should. And equally to blame is anyone who puts the personal above the overall thing, who's friend or family first. But rest assured, my nerve's not going to fail, and there's no threat that's going to stop me acting ever in the interests of all citizens, nor would I ever have anything to do with my country's enemy. For the patriot, personal loyalty always must give way to patriotic duty. Solidarity, friends, is what we need. The whole crew must close ranks. The safety of our state depends upon it. Our trust, our friendships, our security, good order in the city, and our greatness. Understand therefore that I intend to make good what I say by what I do, and hear this first. This ordinance is binding concerning the sons of Oedipus, Eotocles, who fell in our defence. Eotocles will be burned with full honours as a hero of his country. Let his brother Polynices, an exile who came back to visit us with fire and sword, a traitor, an anti-Theban prepared to kill. his countrymen in war, and desecrate the shrines of his country's gods. Hear this about Polynices. He is forbidden any ceremonial whatsoever, no keening, no interment, no observance of any of the rites. Hereby he is adjudged a carcass for the dogs and birds to feed on, and nobody let it be understood, nobody is to treat him otherwise than as the obscenity he was and is. This is where I stand when it comes to Thebes, never to grant traitors and subversives equal footing with loyal citizens, but to honour patriots in life and death. Loud and clear, King Creon, you have laid down the law, you exercise the power your regulations hold for the living and dead, and that is why I regard you from now on as agents of the law. Younger men would be better for that job. I don't mean you should do work on the ground. Naturally, I have guards out there already as we speak. Then why do you call us agents of the law? I mean, you're not to lend the least support to anyone who'd go against the order. But who'd do that? Who would choose to be dead? Death, yes, it would be. But you never know. There's always money lurking, and I never underestimate the lure of money. Sir, I wouldn't exactly say I was panting to get here. Far from it. As a matter of fact, I was more for turning back. I was over a barrel. One part of me was saying, only a loony would walk himself into this, and another part was saying, you'd be a bigger loony not to get to Creon first. It was you take the high road, I'll take the low road then. What's your hurry? Then get a move on. That when all was said and done, there was only one thing for it. Get here, get it out, get it over, no matter what. So here I am, the old dog for the hard road. What will be, says I, will be. What has got you into this state, guard? First off, boss, you must know I'm in the clear. I didn't do the thing. I didn't see who did it, and so, in fairness, I shouldn't be blamed for it. Why do you need such fences and defences? Your news is hardly all that desperate. Desperate enough to panic me, Your Honour. Then get it out, man, as you say yourself, and get it over. Well, here's what it is. The corpse. Somebody has as good as buried it. Somebody's after attending to it, right? Casting the earth on it and all the rest. What are you saying? What man would dare do this? That for the life of me I cannot tell. There wasn't so much as a scrape left on the ground. No sign of pickwork or that class of thing. No rut marks from a wheel. Nothing but the land, the old hard scrabble. Whoever did it was a mystery man entirely. When the sentry showed us this morning, we were stunned. The corpse had actually gone and disappeared, but then it turned out it was only hidden under his coat of dust, as if somebody had treated it, just to be on the safe side, somebody observing all the customs. There were no tears in the flesh, so it couldn't have been wild animals or the dogs. And then the row broke out, everybody shouting, one man blaming the next and ready to fight to prove his innocence. We'd have put our hands in fire to clear ourselves, swearing by this and that we'd neither done the deed nor knew who did it. And then, when we'd more or less calmed down, one man speaks up and panics us again, and what he stated was the obvious. You would have to be told the thing could be hid no longer. So that was agreed, and I was the lucky man. I drew the short straw, and that, sirs, why I'm here. The one that's never welcome, the bearer of bad news. Creon, sir, I cannot help but think the gods have had a hand in this somewhere. Enough! Don't anger me. Your age, my friend, still doesn't give you the rights to talk such garbage. The gods, you think, are going to attend to this particular corpse? Preposterous. Did they hide him under clay for his religion? For coming to burn their colonnaded temples? For attacking a city under their protection? The gods, you think, will side with the likes of him? Here's something else for you to think about. For a good while now I have had reports of disaffected elements at work here, a certain poisonous minority, unready to admit the rule of law, and my law in particular. I know these people how they operate. Maybe they are not the actual perpetrators, but they possess the money and the means to bribe their way. Money has a long and sinister reach. It slips into the system, changes hands, and starts to eat away at the foundations of everything we stand for. Money brings down leaders, warps minds, and generally corrupts people and institutions. But in this case, whoever took the bribe will pay the price. You then, listen to this, for this is my solemn vow. If you do not apprehend, arrest, and bring before me the one who interred the corpse, I'll hang you out, and have you so carved up and pulled apart, you'll be pleading to be dead. You'll discover then what interest your kind of money earns. You can't, friend, have your palm greased and expect to get away clean. Everything comes out. Can I say a word, or am I just dismissed? Dismissed, that's it. You and your news disturbed me. Your conscience is what's doing the disturbing. Watch it, guard. You're overstepping here. It's that mystery man who has you really bothered. I warn you, you'd better mind your mouth. I didn't do it. Oh yes, you did. The minute you smelt money. What's happening here, Creon, is that the judge has misjudged everything. And what I'm telling you is this: unless you expose the guilty party to me, you'll rue the day you bought into this plot. Oh, yes, of course, expose him, bring him in. But be that as may be, this much is sure, yours truly won't be back here in a hurry. Me that was done for, ye gods, I'm off. Among the many wonders of the world, where is the equal of this creature man? First he was shivering on the shore in skins, or hunched in a dugout, terrified of drowning. Then he took up oars, put tackle on a mast, and steered himself by the stars through gales. Once upon a time, from the womb of earth, the gods were born, and he bowed down to worship them. He worked the land, stubbed the forests, and harnessed stallions. His furrows cropped, he feasted his eyes on hay and herds as far as the horizon. The wind is no more swift or mysterious than his mind and words. He has mastered thinking, roofed his house against hail and rain, and worked out laws for living together. Homemaker, thought-taker, measure of all things, he can heal with herbs and read the heavens. Nothing seems beyond him when he yields to his gods. When truth is the treadle of his loom, and justice the shuttle, he'll be shown respect. The city will reward him, but let him once overstep what the city allows, tramp down right or treat the law wilfully as his own word. Then let this wonder of the world remember, he'll have put himself beyond the pale. When he comes begging, we will turn our backs. Now what has happened? Is this the gods at work? Antigone, child of doom, have you gone and broken the law? This is the one. We caught her at it, attending to the corpse. Where's Creon gone? Creon knows when he's needed. He's coming now. Needed? Why am I needed? Creon, King Creon, sir. There's no such thing as an oath that cannot be broken. Circumstances change and your mind changes. After the going over you gave me here, I swore I was off for good, but every now and then, the thing you'd hardly let yourself imagine actually happens. So here I am again, and here's the one that was covering up the corpse. I was on to her in a flash, my prisoner, and mine alone. No need to draw lots this time, I can tell you. And now, sir, she is yours. It's up to you to judge her and convict her, and let me go. I deserve to be discharged. My job is done. How did you come in her? At her work, for all to see, interring Polynices. And you stand over this? This is the truth. I saw her burying the body. You said nobody was to bury. Will that do? How was she observed and caught? Describe it. Oh, I'll describe it, gladly. After your tongue-lashing, I went back and joined the watch and told them we were all marked men. So we did what we could do. We approached the corpse again and cleaned it down and peeled away the clothes. It was going off, so we stationed ourselves at points around the hill, out of the wind, because of the smell, every man on guard watching the other man, ready to pounce the minute he nodded off. And all the while there's this fireball of a sun going up and up the sky until at the midday you could hardly bear it. The ground was like a gridiron. And then what happens? A whirlwind, out of nowhere, leaves whipped off trees, flying sand and dust. The plain below us disappeared, and the path up, and the hills on the horizon, like the sky was vomiting black air. So we closed our eyes and braced ourselves for whatever plague it was the gods were sending. But then it clears, and this one standing, crying her eyes out, she sees the bare corpse and lets out a screech, and starts to curse whoever did the deed. She was like a wild bird round an empty nest. She lifted dust in her hands and let it fall. She poured the water 3 times from her urn, taking care to do the whole thing right, and showed no signs of panic when we trapped her. Denied no thing she was accused of doing, then or earlier. But here's what's strange. I felt sadness coming over me. It's one thing to be let off the hook yourself, but another to land your friends in trouble. If I don't watch out for myself, who will? You there, studying the ground, hold up your head and tell us, is this true? True? I admit it. All right, you're in the clear. So now clear off. You then, tell me, and be quick about it. Did you or did you not know that the proclamation forbade all this? I did know. How could I not? Didn't everybody? And still you dared to disobey the law. I disobeyed because the law was not the law of Zeus, nor the law ordained by justice. Justice dwelling deep among the gods of the dead. What they decree is immemorial and binding for us all. The proclamation had your force behind it, but it was mortal force, and I also am mortal. I chose to disregard it. I abide by statutes utter and immutable, unwritten, original, God-given laws. Was I going to humour you, or honour gods? Sooner or later, I'll die anywho, and sooner may be better in my case. This death penalty is almost a relief. If I had to live and suffer in the knowledge that Polynices was lying above ground, insulted and defiled, that would be worse than having to suffer any doom of yours. You think I'm just a reckless woman, but never, Creon, forget, you yourself could be the reckless one. This wildness in her comes from Oedipus. She gets it from her father. She won't relent. We'll wait and see. The bigger the resistance, the bigger the claps. Iron that's forged the hardest snaps the quickest. Wild she may well be, but even the wildest horses come to heel when they're reined and bitted right. Subordinates are just not made for insubordination. When she defied the general order, Antigone had already gone too far, but flaunting that defiance in my face puts her beyond the pale. Who does she think she is? The man in charge? Have I to be the woman of the house, and take her orders? She has brought death sentences upon herself and on her sister. Yes, yes, yes. His Mina's involved in this thing too. The pair of them, my own sister's daughters. In it up to the hilt. But neither seed nor bread will save them now. Get Ismene out here. She was inside the house a while ago, raving out of her mind. That's how guilt affects some people. They simply break and everything comes out. But the bare-faced ones, the ones who defy you when they're found out, they're worse again. Will it be enough for you to see me executed? More than enough. Then why don't you do it quickly? Anything I have to say to you, or you to me, is sheer exacerbation. I never did a nobler thing than bury my brother Polynices, and if these men weren't so afraid to sound unpatriotic, they'd say the same. But you are king, and because you're king, you won't be contradicted. So you know something no one else in Thebes knows. They know it too. They're just afraid to say it. But you're so high and mighty, you've no qualms. None. There's no shame in burying a brother. Your brother Eteocles also died in the war. My father's and my mother's son, yes, dead, and dishonoured when you honour Polynices. The dead aren't going to begrudge the dead. So wrongdoers and the ones wronged fare the same. Polynices was no common criminal. He terrorised us. Eteocles stood by us. Religion dictates the burial of the dead. Dictates the same for loyal and disloyal. Who knows what loyalty is in the underworld? Even there, I'd know my enemy. And I would know my friend. Where I assist with love, you set at odds. Go then and love your fill in the underworld. No woman will dictate the law to me. Ismene look in tears for her sister, for herself. You bloodsucker, you two-faced parasite. The pair of you at me like a pair of leeches, two vipers spitting venom on the throne. Speak you now. You helped her, didn't you? Or are you going to claim you're innocent? I helped her, yes, if I'm allowed to say so, and now I stand with her to take what comes. I don't allow this. Justice won't allow it. You wouldn't help. We cut all ties. It's over. But now I'm with you. I want to throw myself like a lifeline into you in your sea of troubles. Too late, my sister. You chose a safe line first. The dead in Hades know who did this deed. Antigone, don't rob me of all honour. Let me die with you and act right by the dead. You cannot just pluck your honour off a bush you didn't plant. You forfeited your right. If Antigone dies, how will I keep on living? Ask Creon, since you seem so fond of him. What good does it do to you, twisting the knife like this? I can't help it. Dear heart, it hurts me too. But even at this stage, can I not do something? You can save yourself. That is my honest wish. And be forever shamed in my own eyes. You made a choice. You bear the consequence. I was against your choice and made it clear. One world stood by you, one by me. Different worlds, both equally offended. Take heart, Ismene. You are still alive, but I have long gone over to the dead. This is incredible. One of these had the father's madness in her from the start, but I never thought to see it in Ismene. You think, Creon, when you drive us to the edge, we won't go over? You went over long ago, the minute you linked up with this one here. My sister is the mainstay of my life. Your sister was, there is no is anymore. You mean you'd kill your own son's bride-to-be? I would and will. He has other fields to plough. He loves her utterly. For him there's no one else. No son of mine will take a condemned wife. Oh, poor, poor Haemon, to have you for a favour. You and your marriage talk, too late for that. Do you mean, sir, you rob Haemon of his woman? Hades will rob him first. The sentence, though, has been decided on. It has by me, and I remember. Have your acclamation. Get her away from here. And the other one, women were never meant for this assembly. From now on they'll be kept in place again, and better be. Yes, keep an eye on them. Once the end's in sight, they'll all get desperate. Even the bravest will make a run for it. Whoever has been spared, the worst is lucky. When high gods shake a house, that family is going to feel the blow generation after generation. It starts like an undulation under water, a surge that hauls black sand up off the bottom, then turns itself into a tidal current, lashing the shingle and shaking promontories. I see the sorrow of this ancient house break on the inmates and keep breaking on them, like foaming wave on wave across a strand. They stagger to their feet and struggle on, but the gods do not relent. The living fall where the dead fell in their day, generation after generation. and now a light that seemed about to glow, a hope for the house of Oedipus has died. Dust cast upon a corpse extinguished it, blood-stained dust, a defiant spirit, the fury and backlash of overbearing words. O Zeus on high, beyond all human reach, nothing outwits you, and nothing ever will. You cannot be lulled by sleep or slowed by time, O dazzle on Olympus, power made light. Now and forever, your law is manifest. No windfall or good fortune comes to mortals that isn't paid for in the coin of pain. Here is what happens. Hope and mad ambition are many a time fulfilled for many a man, but just as often they are will-o'-the-wisps that'll send him wild-eyed into fire and flood. Well has it been said, the man obsessed is a cock of the walk in a hurry towards the worst. Our luck is little more than a short reprieve that the gods allow. But look, there's Haemon. Be easy with him, sir. Allow the youngest son to say his say. He'll be beyond himself. He'll have gone wild. He'll know his father doomed his bride to death. Unlike your gentleman, I don't possess clairvoyant powers. I prefer to wait and hear what Haemon has to say himself. Haemon, son, the judgment I pronounced is what the law requires. Are you coming here to rant and rage against me, or are we still father dear and father's son, as ever? Yes, father's son, I do rely on your wisdom and experience, and would want no match or marriage to displace you ever. That's how it is and how it should be, Haemon. It's right for the son to heed his father's judgment. It's what all men pray for. Children who will show a due respect, who will make their father's enemies their enemies and his friends their friends. Nothing gives an enemy more pleasure than to see you let down by the child you've reared. That is a bitter pill to have to swallow. Don't, Haemon, lose your wits over a woman. You're wild for her, but once the thing is done, there and then she'll turn cold comfort. Nothing's worse than marrying yourself to a woman that's no good. Nothing cuts as deep as when the one who's closest turns against you. That's why I say have nothing to do with her. If she needs a husband, let Hades find her one. For of this you can be certain, I won't be making a liar of myself in front of the city. She and she alone defied the order, openly and deliberately, so she shall perish. Let her beseech Zeus, to her heart's content, to guarantee the bond of family blood. My family too have bonds they need to honour. They must observe the discipline I expect from every citizen. The city has to see the standards of the public man reflected in his private conduct. He has to be a man ready to abide by his own orders, a comrade you'd depend on in a battle. When discipline goes, self-discipline goes as well. And once that happens, cities, homes and armies collapse inevitably. Failure of rule is the most destructive thing. Obedience and respect must be instilled, and that is why no woman here is going to be allowed to walk all over us. Otherwise as men will be disgraced. We won't deserve the name. Well, we are old men, so perhaps our judgment's shaky. But what you're saying seems to make good sense. The use of reason, father. The gods have given us the use of reason, but do we use it right? Do I? Do you? It's hard to know, but this much I can tell you. When you hear things you'd rather not be hearing, you get worked up, so therefore people shield you. But not me, father. I hear everything, or overhear it, and all that's talked about in this city is Antigone. People are heartbroken for her. What, they're asking, did she do so wrong? What deserves a punishment like this? As far as they're concerned, she should be honoured. A woman who rebelled when her brother's corpse was being thrown to the carrion crows. She was heroic. That's what's being said behind closed doors. Believe me, father, nothing means more to me than you and your good name. What else could? Father-son, son-father, that regard is natural and mutual. For your own sake, then, I ask you to reconsider. Nobody, Nobody can be sure they're always right. The ones who are fullest of themselves that way are the emptiest vessels. There's no shame in taking good advice. It's a sign of wisdom. If a river floods, the trees on the bank that bend to it survive. If a skipper doesn't slacken sail in the storm, his whole crew ends up clinging to the keel. So swallow pride and anger. Allow yourself to change. I'm young, I know, but I offer you this thought. All of us would like to have been born infallible, but since we know we weren't, it's better to attend to those who speak in honesty and good faith and learn from them. You should take good note, Creon, of Haemon's words, and he of yours. Both of you say sound things. So a man of my age, you're telling me, must take instruction from a man of his. Only if it is the right instruction. The rightness is what matters, not the age. Rightness? What rightness? Aren't you against the law? I am not, and don't want you to be. But isn't that why Antigone's a danger? People here in Thebes don't seem to think so. Do my orders come from Thebes and from the people? Can you hear yourself? What age do you sound now? Who's to take charge, the ruler or the ruled? There's no city that belongs in single hands. Rulers, I thought, were meant to be in charge. Where you should be in charge is in a desert. Listen to him. He's on the woman's side. Are you a woman? I'm on your side, Favor. On my side. But always going against me. Not against you. Against your going wrong. Am I going to wield the powers vested in me? Do they give you rights to disregard the gods? Son, you're pathetic. You give in to a woman, but to nothing that's forbidden or wrong. Everything you say is on her behalf. And yours and mine, and the gods under the earth. You'll never marry her while she draws breath. Then she'll have to die, and she won't die on her own. Has it come to this? Is this an open threat? It's my resolution. Read it as you wish. You'll rue the day you took it on yourself to lecture me. You're a real know-nothing. If you weren't my Favor, that's enough. The woman has you round her little finger. Shutting me up still doesn't make you right. By all the gods that look down from Olympus, I'm telling you, you'll pay a heavy price for this disrespect. Bring her out here. Bring her out and do away with her, so that her groom can watch the deed being done. Never, and never, Favor, again will you set eyes on me. You're deranged. Let whoever can abide you watch her die. King Creon, a younger man like that out of control, he could do anything. He can do his worst then, and good luck to him. It won't affect the fate of those two women. Two, you say? Have you condemned them both? No, you are right. One didn't lift a finger. But Antigone, you've actually considered how you're going to put Antigone to death? Up in the rocks, up where nobody goes, there's a steep path that leads higher to a cave. She'll be put in there and some food put in with her to ward off any blood guilt from the city. And once she's in, she can pray to her heart's content to her god of death. After all her Hades talk, it'll be her chance to see if he can save her. Love that can't be withstood, love that scatters fortunes, love like a green fern shading the cheek of a sleeping girl, like a spume off a wave, or turf smoke in the air. Love, you wield your power over mortal and immortal, and you put them mad. Love leads the good astray, plays havoc in heart and home. You love here and now, in this tormented house, are letting madness loose. The unabashed gaze of a bride breeds desire and danger, eternal sexual smiling. The goddess Aphrodite is irresistible. Love mounts to the throne with law, but the law and all it stands for cannot hold back my tears. Antigone, you are a bride being given away to death. Given away to death. Remember this, citizens. I am linked on Hades' arm. taking my last look, my last walk in the light. Soon the sun will go out on a silent starless shore, and Hades will step aside. He will give me to Acheron, lord of the pitch-black lake, and that bridegroom's cold hand will take my hand in the dark. Steadfast Antigone, never before did death open his stone door to one so radiant. You would not live a lie, vindicated, lauded, age and disease outwitted, you go with head held high. I am like Niobe turned to stone, in the thawing snow and rain, a rock that weeps forever, like ivy in a shower, sluicing down the ridge of high Mount Sipylus. Niobe was immortal, sky-born far beyond us, for we are born of earth, but someone as glorious in life and in death as you can also seem immortal. Stop enough, don't mock. Wait at least till I'm gone. I am still in life, and I dread to leave our gloves and springs, O fortunate men of Thebes. O my Thebes of the chariots, farewell, I am going away, and my rock-piled roof. No mourner waits at the mound. I'll be shut in my halfway house, unwept by those alive, unwelcomed as yet by the dead. Ah, child, you were carried away, but now you're halted and hauled before implacable justice, paying perhaps near life for the past life of your father. There, you have hit home, over and over again, because I am who I am. I retrace that fatal line, and the ghastly love I sprang from. My father weds his mother, he mounts her, me and mine. His half-sisters and brothers are born in their sullied bed. These are the stricken dead I go to meet in Hades. You go because you are noble. Nobility mitigates the offence you gave, but power and everyone who wields it will brook no opposition. You were headstrong and self-willed, and now you suffer for it. No flinching then at fate, no wedding guests, no wake, no keen, no panegyric. I close my eye on the sun, I turn my back on the light. If people had the chance to keen themselves before they died, they'd weep and wail forever. That's enough. Just get her ready and march. March to the rock vault. Wall her in and leave. After that, it'll be up to her to choose. She can live there under dry stone or can die. There's no blood on my hands here. It was she who put herself beyond the pale. She is to blame for every blackout stone they pile up round her. Stone of my wedding chamber, stone of my tomb, stone of my prison roof and prison floor. Behind you and beyond you stand the dead. They are my people and they're waiting for me. And when they see me coming down the road, they'll hurry out to meet me, all of them. My father and my mother first, and then Eteocles, my brother. Everyone as dear to me as when I washed and dressed and laid them out. But Polynices, when I did the same for you, when I did what people know in their hearts of hearts was right, I was doomed for it. Not for a husband, not even for a son, but I have broken the law. Another husband I could always find, and have other sons by him if one were lost. But with my father gone and my mother gone, where can I find another brother ever? The law of the same logic I obeyed when I disobeyed Creon. It's a rule of life, but all Creon can see is a crazy girl he must get rid of. Have I offended gods? Do the gods have no regard for what I did? Where can I turn if they have turned away? The right observance puts me in the wrong, and if that is the gods' verdict, so be it. I have transgressed and will suffer gladly, but if the wrong was laid upon me wrongly by these unjust ones, then let their penalty be no less than the one they've doomed me to. She's still unrecoiled, as driven as ever. The quicker, then, they move her on, the better. This man's words are as cold as death itself. They're meant to be, meant to destroy your hope. The sentence stands. The law will take its course. Now gods of Thebes look down. Through my native streets and fields I'm being marched away, and never, you men of Thebes, forget what you saw today. Oedipus' daughter, the last of his royal house, condemned, and condemned for what? For practicing devotion, for a reverence that was right. Danae, too, was walled up in the dark, princess daughter, imprisoned by her father, barred and bolted in a tower of brass. Then molten Zeus, a battering ray of light, O flashing cloudburst, blossom-stripping shower, and girdled and dishevelled herb of gold. Fate finds strange ways to fulfil its ends. Not military power, nor the power of money, not battlements of stone, nor black-hulled fleets, can fend off fate or keep its force at bay. Blood under Maenad's nails on the mountain path, cries on the wind, weeping heard in the palace. Whoever has been spared, the worst is lucky. My lord, my countrymen, I know you're there. We have been going the roads, the pair of us, going by the one same pair of eyes. The man that's blinded always needs a guide. Tiresias, you venerable man, what news have you brought for me this time? News that you would be as well to heed. When did I not, prophetic father, heed you? And isn't that why your ship has stayed on course? You kept me right, I know it in my bones. Then know this, where you are standing now is a cliff edge and there's a cold wind blowing. Why do you always put that shiver through me? Because I have the power to see and warn. I know things once I sit in that stone chair, and the birds began to skirl above my head, but never in all my years have I heard the likes of the screams and screeches that I heard this day. There was no meaning to them. I knew by the whirl of wings, and the rips and spits of blood, and birds were mad. I was afraid, so once the blaze was lit, on the altar stone I brought my offerings. But the fire had no effect, it wouldn't take, and none of the bits would burn. Slime. Slime was what I got instead of flame, matter oozing out from near the bone. The fat stayed raw and wept into the ash. Everywhere there was the spattered gall, all the burst gallbladder, slurry smoke and dirt. Some deep fault caused that. The boy here saw it, and I rely on him as much as you. Oh, on me there was no sign to be read. The right had failed. Because of you, Creon, you and your headstrongness. That body, lying out there decomposing, is where the contagion starts. The dogs and birds are at it day and night, spreading reek and rot. On every altar stone and temple step when the gods are revolted. And that's why we have this plague, this vile pollution. That's why my birds in flight aren't making sense. They're feeding on his flesh. Consider well, my son, all men make mistakes, but mistakes don't have to be forever. They can be admitted and atoned for. It's the overbearing man who is to blame. Pull back, yield to the dead. Don't stab a ghost. What can you win when you only wound a corpse? I have your good at heart, and have good advice. The easiest thing for you would be to take it. Why am I standing out here like a target? Why is every arrow aimed at me? You, Tiresias, you and your whole fortune-telling tribe have bled me white, but not any more. Whoever wants it can cross your palm with silver. But they won't get that body underground. None of your pollution talk scares me. Not if Zeus himself were to send his eagle to scavenge on that flesh and shit it down. Not even that would put me back on my word. Nothing done on earth can defile the gods. But even the wisest man on earth, old man, has been corrupted the minute he's prepared to deliver fake truths on demand for bribes. This is bad. Does nobody realise? Does nobody realise what? Honest advice is not a thing you buy, and witlessness has to be the greatest threat. As you should know, it is your problem, Creon. I don't want to trade insults with a prophet. It's an insult to imply I am fake. All of you so-called seers, you have your price. Rulers too have a name for being corrupt. Do you realise you are talking to your king? A king my words once helped to save this city. Your second sight has been well worked since then. My second sight scares me and should scare you. Scare me then, but don't expect a bribe. Talk of bribes won't shield you from the truth. The decisions that I take aren't up for sale. Then listen, Creon, and listen carefully. The sun won't ride his chariot round the sky very much longer before flesh of your flesh answers corpse for your enactments. This is what you'll get for thrusting down a daughter of the sunlight to the shades. You have buried her alive, and among the living you have forbidden burial of one dead, one who belongs by right to the gods below. You have violated their prerogatives. No earthly power, no god in upper air, exerts authority over the dead. Henceforth, therefore, they lie in wait for you, the inexorable ones, the furies who destroy. Then tell me, when a lamentation starts, when woman wail and man howl rake your walls, tell me I've been bribed. And tell me it again, when enemy cities rise to avenge each corpse you left dishonoured on the battlefield, they turned to filth, remember, and the crows puddled and poked in it and would fly back to foul each wing with droppings of its dead. I am not the target, I am the archer. My shafts are tipped with truth and they stick deep. Come, boy, take me home. Let him affront somebody younger now, and learn to control his tongue and see things in truer light. He's gone, my lord, but his words won't go away. Never in all my days was that man wrong. When he warned the city knew to listen. I know, I listened too, and learned from him. I hate a climb down, but something's gathering ahead. Now of all times you must heed good advice. What's to be done? Tell me and I'll do it. Set the girl free from behind the rocks, and make a burial mound for her brother's corpse. You want me to renege? Immediately, in case the gods strike first. It goes against the grain, but I am beaten. Fate has the upper hand. Do it then, and do it yourself quickly. Right. All hands get a move on, here and now. The judgment is reversed. Take your crowbars, take the picks up to the hill. I walled her in, and therefore I'll be there to bring her out. In my heart of hearts, I know what must be done. Until we breathe our last breath, we should keep the established law. Call up the gods of Thebes, son of thundering Zeus, fleet foot and open hand. We who live where Cadmus sowed the dragon's teeth, call on you, Dionysus. Vine man, pine god, prince of the ivy bunch and wine cup, we glory in your names. From Delphi's high-faced cliff, from the sunk Castalian spring, from hillsides of ripe grapes, come brilliantly to Thebes, Thebes where the bright bolt struck, and begot you on Semele. But plague has struck your birthplace, O Dionysus, appear, with men and maenads headlong, and dance the world to rites. Be sunlight from Parnassus, a dazzle on the gulf, be the necklace fire of stars, the cauterizing lightning, bewilder us with good. We who live where Cadmus sowed the dragon's teeth, call on you, Dionysus. Old neighbours, elder citizens, you don't need me to tell you about life. You've seen it all. Nobody can predict what lies ahead. Take our own man, Creon. Creon saved us, saved the country, and there he was, strong king, strong head of family, the man in charge. And now it's all been lost. He might as well be dead, for when you lose your happiness, I always say you lose your life. You can dwell in state, have all the trappings of success and style, but if you can't enjoy them in your heart, what does it mean? If your joy in life's destroyed, you're left with a mirage, shadows and ash. Is this more bad news for the royal house? Dead. They are dead, and the living bear the guilt. Who was killed? Who did the killing? Quick! Haman was killed. But by himself, or Creon, by himself, for the blood of his father's hands. Tiresias, mighty seer, it has come to pass. We must make sense of it as best we can. Aye! Eurydice, the queen, looks on her way, distracted. She must have heard the news. I'm in dread. My hand was on the latch of the little gate into the temple shrine. Then I heard keening in the house and fainted. Oh, citizens, there's not anybody here. Knows better than I what wailing like that means. I know what to expect. Just say what happened. I can tell you the whole thing, ma'am. There's no sense in making a liar of myself. Right from the start, I was at your husband's side. All of us climbing the hill, and sure enough, it was still there, Polynesia's corpse, or what the dogs had left of it. So we prayed to the goddess of the crossroads and to Pluto to hold their anger back and to ignore the pitiless of that desecration. Then we washed the remains in purifying water, gathered sticks and made enough of a fire to burn him decently, and as was right, we piled his home ground over him at last. Then on we went, right up to the cave mouth, and deep in that unholy vault we hear such terrible howling we have to send for Creon, and when Creon comes he howls himself, and he knows. Oh, hide me from myself, he cries, for I face the saddest door I ever faced. I hear my son's voice in there. Come on, he shouts, tumble the stones, break through, and look and tell me if it's Haemon. So we broke the barrier down as ordered, and saw into a gallery. Antigone was there, hanging by her neck from a linen noose, and Haemon on the ground beside her, with his arms up round her waist, imploring, the underworld lamenting his dead bride, and shouting execrations against Creon. But Creon couldn't help himself, and went with open arms to the boy and started pleading, calling him son, saying he'd had a fit, and to watch himself. But Haemon spat in his face, and made quick lunge with his two-edged sword, and we'd have got him if Creon hadn't dodged. But before we knew where we were, he had turned the sword on himself and buried half the blade in his own side, and as he was collapsing, his arms still clung to the girl, and blood came spurting out of his mouth all over her white cheek. That was the kiss he gave his bride-to-be. A wedding witnessed in the halls of death, and one to teach us living witnesses the mortal cost of ill-judged words and deeds. But not a word from her. I wished there'd been a cry at least, or a sigh, or a single tear. Maybe now she needs her privacy inside the house. Maybe she can't give vent to grief in public. I hope that's it. I too am afraid. That silence is a danger in itself. She shouldn't be going in there unattended. Look, stand back, it's the king coming to bury his own. How did the likes of us foresee this and not him? Make way for your king of wrong, wrong-headed on the throne, wrong-headed in the home, wrong-footed by the heavens. And you, dear son, dead son, I was wrong to harry you. Too late, alas, you've learned. The hammer blow of justice has caught me and brought me low. I'm under the wheels of this world, smashed to bits by a god. My lord, you come bowed down with grief enough, but you must brace yourself to suffer more. What can be worse than worst? What has happened now? The one who has brought your son into the world has taken leave of it. Your queen's lifeblood is on the palace floor. Let the hounds of Hades lick it. Why am I clamped like prey in the hungry jaws of death? I'm a kill that death has made and attacked for the second time. Your words are tooth and claw, say again the news of the queen. It doesn't need to be said. It cannot be kept hidden. Mother and child both, I have wived and fathered death. No, my lord, she dealt the stroke herself. The sword was two-edged, and so was her grief for her two sons. For Megarus killed defending Thebes, and Haemon who killed himself. But then as the dark stole down over her eyes, she called you deaf dealer and cursed your name. Why doesn't somebody take a two-edged sword to me? The dark is on me too. I'm at bay in guilt and grief. Deaf dealer, she said, because you and your doings failed her children. And then she raised her hand to do the deed. When she'd listened to how Haemon stabbed himself, she went and took your own sword from its scabbard and buried it in her heart. Let every verdict be pronounced, against me she was guiltless. It was my hand on the hills, my hand that drove the blades. Take me out of your sight. I am nothing new. Forget me. Treat me as nothing. This is right, if right can ever come. From wrongs like yours, this is good. When the worst has to be faced, the best thing is to face it quickly. The quicker it comes, the better. I want to hurry death. I want to be free of the dread of wakening in the morning, waking up at night. All I pray for now is the dawn of my last day. Bear with the present. What will be, the future is cloth waiting to be cut. I still have prayed my prayer. You have prayed enough. There is no protection. You courted calamity. Resign yourself. Take me, hide me, blindfold me from these, and keep your distance. Everything I've touched I have destroyed. I've nobody to turn to. Nowhere I can go. My recklessness and pride I paid for in the end. The blow came quick. Wise conduct is the key to happiness. Always rule by the gods and reverence them. Those who overbear will be brought to grief. Fate will flail them on its winnowing floor, and in due season teach them to be wise. The end.